Welcome, Mama. Thank you so much for coming in really early today. Please, could you rename your device to use your princess title, Mamas? Everybody on the squad is a princess. Let me rename mine Princess Irene, yeah? I'd just like to put a call through to the group so that we get. Welcome, Mama. Thank you so much for coming in really early today. So let me see. All right, so I want to have the replay link somewhere. Yep. Beautiful. I'm going to start sharing my screen any moment. Okay. Fantastic. Yep. Please give me a sec. Okay, so I'm right there. Please, if you can hear me. Oh, Princess Isabella, thank you so much, Mama, for joining in. Let me just call the parents group briefly so that we can begin. So, hey, parents, we've started our live session for parents. Please come in. Thank you. So please come in. We started our live session. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to repost the link so we can see it, all right? So this is the link. In case a parent missed it, let me put this here. Fantastic. More parents are coming in. So I really want us to start because we have quite some stuff to talk about. So let me put this on a slideshow, yes. So welcome, mamas. This is Princess Irene Bangwell. Like I always like to do when we start the parents' live session, I always want to know the girls that are represented, their ages, right? Could you tell me the ages of your princesses so that as we speak, we do everything to make sure that the conversation is relevant to you. All right? Let me see what's going on. Yep. So let me see the princesses that are represented on the spot. So Princess Isabella is 10. So that's 9 to 11. Princess Isabella, are you the one that is on the call or is your mom? Okay, mom. I wanted to send her away like very quickly. So Princess Anna is 8. Fantastic. All right. So thank you so much, parents, for coming in. So we have 6 to 8 and 9 to 11. So, I had mentioned that in this quarter, for 3 months, we're going to be expanding online safety so that as parents, we know what to do. So today, we're starting out a part of that session. Next month, we're going to, still November, because this is your September session. So we're going to fix another date for the November class because we moved October to November and then December. And so today we are starting a very interesting part. I think you're going to learn a lot, but I just want to put it out there that in the course of the session, if you have a friend that you think is supposed to be in this class, maybe they're already having issues with their daughters. I always recommend parents invite at least one parent to be a part of the parent live session because what you learn with someone closest to you, you have the tendency to follow through compared to something you learn alone. So if you have your older sister, younger sister, colleague at work, that you guys talk parenting things together, it's always important to either share the live link with them to join or send them the replay and tell them you guys could talk about it later. Because I promise you what we learn in clusters, especially close clusters, last a pretty long time. And so if you can hear me very clearly, just type anything you can see on the screen. If you can hear me and you can see the screen, type any word that you're seeing on the screen so that I can know that I'm not speaking to myself. All right, so that I can be sure that I am not talking to myself. Fantastic. Beautiful, beautiful. This is awesome. Okay, session 1 mapping. Excellent. So let's begin. So everyone can see my screen, can hear me. So let's begin. So today I want to start out with this question, and honestly, I want you to think about it, and I'm going to leave room for parents to be able to contribute. So you can raise your hand and I'll give you permission to unmute. So let's read this together. I want us to look at the first sentence. If your daughter was traveling to another city for the first time, would you plan her route? Let me leave that. Let me move back to my title because this screen has already given you answers. All right. If your daughter was traveling for the very first time at her current age and she had to travel alone, what would you do to prepare her for the trip? So if you're ready, just raise up your hands and I'm going to be here for you. If your daughter at her current age had to travel alone, what would you do to prepare her? So to give you some perspective, I've traveled with unaccompanied minors a couple of times. I mean, the one that was the most exciting was a particular 10-year-old. I think her parents are divorced. So she schools in Abuja, where her father is, here in Abuja. But during midterm and holiday, she goes back to home to either Calabar or Uyo. I don't remember where I was traveling to. And I traveled with this child. I was a stranger, and this child had a wholesome, she chatted with me, but you could still see where the boundaries were. And it was so admirable to me. So I'm asking that question now. What would you think her parents did to prepare her? So you now, if you had to send your child on a trip as an unaccompanied minor, no matter her age, what would you do to make sure she got to her destination safely? You can either leave it as a chat or you can raise up your hands and I'll give you permission to unmute and share. I'll take 2-3 contributions and then we'll get into the gist. Your daughter at her current age needs to travel for some reason unaccompanied by you or your co-parent or your husband or your spouse or her father. What would you do? Nobody's answering me. It looks like people are saying, no, my daughter cannot travel unaccompanied. I know, but just humor me a little. It's a hypothetical question, so it would be good if you can at least tell me something. So I know we have 6 to 8-year-olds represented on this call. We have 9 to 11-year-olds on the call. Please answer me. Okay, if the school was taking your daughter on a field trip that was interstate, what would you do to prepare her for the trip? It's not possible now that nobody's raising their hand. People are typing. So I'm waiting. I'd really like to hear someone's voice though. What would you do to keep her safe? I have a 12 to 14. Okay, both of my daughters are in 12 to 14 now. Oh, my first comment has dropped. Give her the basics and pep talk on hygiene. Okay? The basics. Mama, I wish you broke down the basics and pep talk on hygiene. That's important. I wish you could give me a heads up on what you mean by basics. You'd be shocked that what is basics to you may not be basics to me, and yet it's supposed to be. So I want us to learn from each other as much as we can. All right? Okay, so if you could just give me a breakdown of basics, it would really help. But I'm going to note that already. Basics and pep talk on hygiene, yeah? I know hygiene is always top on our readers, moms of girls, or moms generally, yeah? So I have 10 people on the call. People are not answering. I'm going to start calling people's names. So I have Etta. I'm sure that's a mom or a dad, whichever one. I want to hear from you, ma'am. I've given you permission to unmute. I just want to start calling people at random like that. What would you do to prepare her? You know, we need to make our time work. All right. So let me see.
Good morning. Aeta is actually a woman.
Okay. Thank you, Mama.
Okay. I was actually typing, but I might as well just see what I was typing.
Yes, ma'am.
So, if she was, well, in terms of trip, I don't think we're ready yet for that, but
How old is
hypothetically
she?
speaking,
How
she just turned 10.
You'll be shocked. All right, let's go. But go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, she has been shocking me lately in the last few months. She turned 10 about a month ago. So,
Okay.
so well, let me use an example of a school trip they've had that she had
Yes.
to stay away for a few days. So we packed the essential clothing that was appropriate for the weather. We made sure she had all the toiletries and extra money just in case. And we thought, of course, we did the hygiene talk in detail, and we talked about following the rules of the trip, following obeying the rules as to where they were going to, listen to her teachers and all of that. And of course, we covered it with prayer.
Of course. That's about the most important part, yeah? All right.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for that. Thank you very much.
thank
Excellent.
you.
So now we see Mama, two parents have talked about the hygiene talk, some extra money, but a very important rule, which was that the rules, learn them and follow them. All right, because rules keep us safe. So, oh, I have quite a list here. So let me go. All right. The driver will have to be a trusted person. The person's receiving her same. Then I will remind her the things she has been learning. Wash your pants after each wear. Mind your business and be observant. Why did you put mind your business? But I like that. Wash your pants after. So you see, hygiene is always top of our list. Basics like toiletries, wipes, cologne, how to take care of our body. Excellent. Alia's mom said, map out the route. Yeah, map out the route. Get as much support as possible for her, like paid chaperone. Okay. Map out the route. Do a simulator of what the trip would be like. Talk about expected and unexpected events. Pack enough supplies. So for instance, I did this class during the holiday for girls going to boarding that I literally had to map out the route of what it takes from home to school, to thrive, to class, to dining, to sports area, assessment, exams, making friends, things that happen after school. You have to try to map out the route. I know that by saying if she went on a school trip, it changed how you would prepare her. But if she was going somewhere on her own, not with a group unsupervised, the mapping will be truly different. All right. Prior to this, I would have made sure she's capable. So we talked about safeguarding, awareness of our environment, boundaries, self-confidence. Awesome. 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 Now, first and foremost, let's just start with the fact that for most of us on the call, we're not ready to put our kids on the road to go anywhere for any reason to make any point at the moment. However, while we have reservations about putting them in physical spaces to go on their own, we are putting them online, and online is just as dangerous as physical spaces. And so that's what today's session is. How do we map their digital journey? So my first screen here started out saying, if your daughter was traveling to another city for the first time, I think you'd plan her out. You'd give her emergency contact. Maybe you call her every hour. However, when it comes to the internet, most parents hand them a device and hope for the best. So, so when it's physical, because we can see it, it's easy for us to plan the route. Do this. You pick a bus stop, you drop this, you see this image on the left, you hear cabs, or you see this, you see that, you see that. First, you have a phone, you store some numbers. If anything happens, call this. All right, we would be able to do that. But when it comes to the internet, we are not nearly as deliberate. And the reason is that we have the illusion of presence. What do I mean by illusion of presence? When we give our children devices, first we believe that they're at home now. She's with me at home. She didn't leave the house. I'm here now. I'm here. I'm in the house. If anything is happening, I'm in the house. we don't realize that the harm that comes from the internet is so subtle that you can't imagine. I don't know how I didn't share this video, but I think there's a video I wanted to share yesterday. I think I posted it to the Raising Girls team group, or not parents group, where a mother was mourning her 10-year-old who committed suicide. The child died by suicide earlier in the year. And what was the problem? She gave birth to a social butterfly that likes to connect with people. She's friendly and all of that. And some time ago, the girl had to get braces. I want you to listen to this carefully, and then on the comments, you start telling me how should that child have been prepared, all right? So the child started using braces, and classmates started making fun of her in school, but it didn't end there. They took it outside of school hours. It became something that was invasive. They were reaching out to her online, on the phone, leaving all kinds of hateful stuff online, fun stuff, memes with her and all of those. And then the mom walks into the room one day and her baby's gone, died by suicide. When they handed that child the device, what do you think they should have done to map her out? I deliberately told you the child's personality because if I remember correctly, I talked about it in the last meeting. Some children's personality makes them more vulnerable to certain types of risk, and the other child's personality does not. So I'd like you to think, if that child, if the mother had to do it again, and she came back to you and say, what should I do this time? What would you advise her to do? I will talk about my second daughter, who is a social butterfly as well. And I hope I say it because I think I included it somewhere in my slide, but if I don't, you can call my attention to it. So for those of us raising kids that are so social, they get a lot of energy from interactions with people, the online world has a lot more risk for them than any other personality as far as I'm concerned. They are more outgoing. They're the ones that are most likely to reach out to connect with people physically and give all the details of where they are on their itinerary. They are big on making friends. Number two, they are also the people that we probably scold the most because they can be so restless. So it makes them emotionally vulnerable. So they can be so prone and easy, grooming can feed off them. Number three, they like community, so they like trendy things because of community. They're the ones that can easily forget all the things you've been teaching them. So if you're raising that kind of kid, how do you map her out? I'm sure parents are typing. Parents are typing. So let me hear if you had to advise that mother whose daughter died by suicide because people were making fun of her because she had braces. Simio, when we were younger, we used to admire people with braces. We thought they were the Ajabota of the Ajabotas. I didn't know that it can become something that is so hurtful to kids to be talked about that they want to, or it would move them to take their own lives. So I'd like to hear, what would you tell that mom? So you know how I did the other time? I would just call someone's name and give the person permission to unmute and let us talk. So I'm going to be going to Madam Adebanke. Let me hope she's not the one that just left the comment. Depending on the age, parental control on devices first, no chatting online. Okay, that's one. She was 10 years old, yeah. Yeah, parental control on the device first, no chatting yet. All right, so I'm going to give you a little feedback on that shortly. So I call the parent, Madam Adebanke, you have permission to unmute, and please share with us what you think that mother should have done differently. There's something I shared last month, and I'll be so glad if somebody brings it up, the last session we had. So, Mom, you have the floor.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Mama.
Genuinely, I mean, when I heard the story, I was short of words.
Yeah.
And to be honest, because of my daughter's age, pretty much I'm just here to like really learn
Yes,
honestly, I have no idea like what I would have done differently or what I would advise her to do differently. So
yeah.
genuinely, I'm really here to just learn from other parents and from you. Genuinely.
All right. Thank you so much, sis.
Yeah,
That
thank
makes
you.
sense. Thank you. So I'm going to go to someone whose daughter is in that age group, Aaliyah's mom. So on mute, yeah? Mama, you have the floor. Princess Aaliyah's mama.
Yeah, I'm here. I want to. Sorry about that. I wanted to make sure. Let's make sure Alia is out of the room.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. For me, I actually started the boundaries discussion very, very early. I think from like as soon as she could talk. We've
Okay.
always talked about
Call it
boundaries, about
boundaries, okay?
yes,
Yes.
boundaries,
Yes.
and we always talked about boundaries, and I am also very, very, very interested in our interactions.
Okay.
I'm always asking, not just asking, I'm always gisting and make you very interactive about our friends, our teachers, the school comedian, the school bullies, the interactions of our classmates. So I'm able to like determine if there are areas that I have to intervene or talk about some things, but I don't make it look like I'm asking because I want to know. I'm just trying to just that, oh yeah, he told me about this classmate. What happens to the person? Oh, she did this. Oh yeah, there's this. I have an enemy in class. I have this, I have that. So,
Yeah.
I'm able to know where I have to intervene early. I also
Yes.
have a niece that I babysit regularly. And the interesting thing is that she needs a different approach from my own daughter.
Yeah.
A totally different approach because she's big, she's taller than most of her classmates, but she's very, very gentle and she lets a lot of things go. So for my niece, she has issues with boundaries because she always wants to be seen as a good girl and she's very social. So it bothers her a lot when she has friends that don't want to play with her and all
Yes.
of that. So I'm just saying that, this discussion, I don't think is just about the online interactions. I think that what you do offline should carry over
Carries you
online.
online. Yes. Yes.
Yes, should carry over online. And I'm also very particular about knowing what is trending online.
Okay. Okay.
Among the Gen Alphas, the Gen Alpha Plus,
Yes.
what the slangs are, what the new things are.
Yeah.
I'm always checking and all, so that like I used to tell some of my friends that if you are not careful with our kids these days, they will sell you and you help them count change.
Oh Lord. So I get you completely. Because they are
Yeah,
not
so
Gen
yeah,
Z.
yeah, because you don't understand the language, you don't understand the context of their slangs. So they talk around you and you are lost. You are not sure what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So it's very important to me that I know what the trending things are so that when we talk, we can flow at the same wavelength to my daughter. And I also know when some discussions are going out of context with our friends. So
Mistake.
there's a lot to say, but that's just some of it.
All right. Thank you so much, Mama. That's a whole lot. So what I'm taking away from you is the effort to know the child. I like how you distinguish Aliyah's reality from your niece's own, because then what you're saying is your child's personality determines how you map that route. Now, from the mother's point of view, the mother is aware that that child was being bullied. So she was an informed mom. She knew she was being bullied. But what she didn't know is her child's coping skill. So instead of assuming a child's coping skills, maybe it's important to teach coping skills, because suicide is usually, not in all contexts, but most of the time, is a cry for help, is an helplessness. I don't know what to do. So it means as parents, we're supposed to not just tell, so the atypical African person, be strong. Don't let them get to you. I love you. I do this, I did. When I was doing one of my postgraduate studies, I learned something called self-efficacy. And self-efficacy means that your child is talking to, self-efficacy is what you say to yourself to pick yourself up, not necessarily what someone else tells you to pick yourself up. It is found to be more valuable, more truthful, or more powerful and effective than what someone else said. So that means that that child is going through a bad situation, feels helpless at school, bad things are happening all around where the child is, but the child is not coming home to a mother that just says, don't mind them, I believe in you. What do you mean don't mind them? I spent 8 hours with them. They are my reality. But coping skills says when this happens, let's think about doing this. When that happens, have you tried to do this? I tried to do this today, this work. Think about having a vault of different things for your child to cope to do when they feel helpless. However, it stands on the footing that the child does not feel judged when they tell you how they feel. Some African mothers will say, how can you be like this? We're not like this in my family. And that introduces the element of shame, which means the child is not completely vulnerable to you anymore. If a child is not completely vulnerable to you, you can't help the child. So you want a child that can come back home sulking, sad. They said this, they said that. So my second daughter is very slim. My second daughter is Lepa Shandi by all standards. And I found that no matter how much she eats, there's a way she doesn't get. Then when she falls ill, it makes it even worse. And so one day she said someone said she was just bones. I sat down with her. I said, what do you? She said she doesn't know. What should she do to put on weight? I saw the desperation. I can be tempted to say, baby girl, I love you. And this is this. I said, okay, it makes you feel like that. She said, yes, mommy. I don't know. Do I need to eat something? Mommy, can you get me Dynamogene so that I have some more appetite and all of that? Then I looked at her and said, okay, let me tell you something. I said, I used to be very worried when you were younger, right? About when you were not as chubby as your sister. I said, but then one time I discovered something. She said, what? I said, I noticed that when you're healthy, you have a dimple here. There's a dimple here. That dimple tells me you're okay. I said, I showed her my picture in SS2. I was even in SS2. I was just as slim as she is. I said, this is what mommy used to look like. So you're a lot like mommy. That means you're not alone. Even though mommy looks chubby like this, you and mommy have the same personality. You and mommy have the same ability. One of my friends tells me that she is the version of me without trauma. So somebody can say Irene is an introvert, but when you meet that, my daughter, she's such an extrovert. She's a social butterfly. I am not. But my friend told me you are. It's just that this is the version of you that was trained to be like this. So I told her, when I see that dimple, it just tells me you're healthy. So I know it's not a medical thing. Maybe, yeah, we can do Dynamogene. Then I now say, but are those people really important so much that what they say to you is so important? So tell me the friends that are important to you. And then she'll list them and say, what are those ones saying? Unfortunately, sometimes those ones are also saying something mean. But I just let her know that the most important part is come to me. So what did you do? I said, okay, she loves to draw a lot. And I said, okay, let's do something that gives you happiness. So she'll start to draw and it helps her take her mind off it. She starts to draw, it helps her take her mind off it. Like I mentioned to you guys, both of my daughters had surgeries recently. We got home like 2 weeks ago. So everyone is home. Everyone has lost weight. So guess what? This is the phase. This morning, she told me, thank you that we didn't have to go back to school so that I don't go back to school looking like this. So do you get that kind of thing? The judgment-free zone to say how I feel without me saying, how could you think like that? Because in that headspace, I recognize there are other things I need to do indirectly to build her self-worth. There are other things. In fact, I learned very recently a very hard thing to think about, that when our children, if your daughter says, Mommy, I think I'm ugly, and you say, no, you're not, that it reinforces it. He said what? He said because it introduces self-doubt in their own judgment. You know, psychology is so vast that it introduces self-doubt because you're telling them that their opinion is wrong. So first they were thinking that they were ugly. Now they're thinking that something is wrong with their thinking. So it reinforces everything. So instead, what you do is, why do you say so? Maybe she says she has a high cheekbone, for instance. Let's say she could articulate what ugly is. And you can say, oh, wow, you think you have a high cheekbone? How do you know? Who told you? Because the emphasis at that point is to find out where she started believing that from. To say, oh, I think you're meditating on something you heard somewhere. Give yourself some time. If you meditated on this for a while, you could try that and let's see how it works. Sometimes I was okay, I'm going to give you something to say repeatedly for some days, and then you tell me about how that makes you feel, and then we'll talk about it. So with that child that was going through that problem, while the mother was aware, they didn't hit it. They didn't hit what she was doing to cope. Prepare a child first about their self-image, knowing what God says about you, knowing the difference between what the lies are and what the truth is. Preparing them also so that, because the world is brutal, so they'll build resilience. Constant and consistent check with sincere, heartfelt discussions, not dismissive. Thank you so much. I think I would have first prepared her ahead before getting the braces. I will explain what will physically feel different for her. I'm also there for daily mood check-ins. Thank you, Mama Kennedy. That's so instructive. So let me tell you something I did today. So one of my daughters had a hip replacement surgery. So she has a long scar. And today we dressed the stitches place, put on the bandages and plasters. We're going for a review next week. When we finish doing that, looking at that, I knew that the next problem I'm going to have is body image. Mommy, look at how long my scars are. Mommy, I have a big scar on my back. Do you know what came to me? I just said, Jesus has scars too. But as I was driving to work, what kept coming to me is that when the conversation opens, I'm going to let her know that sometimes scars are a sign that you were fought for, that love was put across to save you. So other people may say, look at that scar, it looks so ugly. That scar, there are children in the world dying to have it, to have a relief on the pain that love fought for you to have. But I won't say it this way because it could be an adult perspective, but I would introduce it. For example, my daughter knows one of her teachers that lived with the same condition she had to do that surgery for, but her teacher could not afford to do that surgery. So she worked with pain for some time and then left. So I want to be able to bring that in to say, look, Princess, there are people that need to have this surgery to have a bit of the relief that you now enjoy. So what are we saying? Even though we have a scar, it's a sign that love fought for us. So sometimes preempt, your child wants to start a new school. Think about possible things that will happen in that new school reality and start to talk about it. To be forewarned is to be forearmed, I promise you. So let's go back to our conversation, the online world. Oh, scars are also a sign that you survived what many people did not. I need to write that, please. Scars are a sign that you survived. My sister, that thing you just said, you don't know what it did to me. That you survived what many didn't. Oh, you don't want to know what the last few weeks have been for me. Having your children get into the theater and you're waiting. And when the doctors come out, or the anesthetist or the nurses, you're looking out to their faces to know whether did it go well or not. So that's very important. So now we're talking about the online world. If we say before a child experiences something, we should prepare them. It therefore means that the online world is a space that we're supposed to prepare children for. Now, this session I'm doing today helps you know what to talk about. The replay will be live. You can watch it over and over again so that you know the bits and pieces that you want to talk about. So when people say, what is the online world? Be careful about online, be careful about online. Remember, it seems invisible to you. Except for numbers, like when I log into our handle on Instagram, it's, oh, we have over 85,000 people. I can't see them, I see numbers. So usually we don't recognize that there are billions of people online, and those are the exact people that have access to our children when they come online. But one thing our children need to know is not everyone online comes with good intentions. Not everyone comes online. Do you know some people start to chat with people, to bond with people with the purpose of luring them to abuse them, with the purpose of scamming them. There's so many not good intentions. But as a parent, depending on your child's age, not all with good intentions is vague. So you want to break down what good intention is, what bad intention is. Good intentions, I came to learn about new products. I came to learn about how people are solving some problems I have. Some people do it better, but other people are coming to find members for their cults, to find members for their groups, to recruit people to sell drugs. Some people are there to kidnap. Some people are there to kill. Some people are there to malign. Some people are there, some people are there not mentally stable. Somebody put up a post one day that many of the people that troll you are chatting with you from a prison. It shows their state of mind. But the other part is also not everyone has been raised properly. I used to tell my children that all the time. Not everyone is raised properly. Not everyone thinks straight, but they all have access online. They have devices. So when you read someone's post, you may want to step back and say, is this person mentally okay? Number two, the spaces are constantly evolving. The features, the dynamics, the new apps, the community, all of these things are constantly evolving. So what it means is that you need to let yourself know as a parent that you can't really be hooked on the dynamic changes, the quick changes going on. Now, if somebody retweets you and you touch their kidney on your Instagram, you're sending them a direct chat. So it means as parents, you need to let your kids know that everything is changing so quickly. And sometimes the motive of the change is not clear. Number three, there are no boundaries between school, home, and world. What do I mean by that? Something happened in school. Your child has left school and come home, but it follows your child through chat, follows your child through memes, follows your child through WhatsApp groups, through Snapchat communities. So there are no boundaries anymore. In fact, at this point, I'm thinking, shouldn't we be sitting down with schools to say, what regulations do you have in place to ensure that things that happen in school remain in school? What effort are you making to ensure that children don't take conversations or incidents, that they don't take pictures, they don't record videos, they don't take it into communities, no memes are created with another child's pictures to cause any harm? Because those are all part of the problems. But as a parent, you need to know that because these boundaries don't exist, these are the risks your child will face. Then finally, this is where I want to let you know that you have power. Children know apps better, but you as a parent must know the motives better. Your children will know the apps better than you. They'll know the logos, they'll know the features, they'll know how to swipe to the left, they'll know how to do DMs, but you know the motives. And one thing I wanted to teach you today is how to know the motives of each platform. So that when you're talking to your child, while they know the features, you know the why. And it helps you, it gives what you say power. So I did this screenshot from a note I have. I just want to walk you through it. So now your children see that online platform as an app. Somebody created an app to bring people together. All the apps are businesses. All the apps are what? Businesses. Many times your child cannot see beyond the business of the platform. So I wanted to share with you some platforms that are crazy for your child to follow, that your children follow, so that you can talk from an informed point. That's the point at which I talk to my children. No emotions. Anyway, if the parents on the squad, I always know that the parents on the squad, they are not emotional people. They are very objective. They are straightforward. The noise doesn't get to them. They want to get into the meat. And many of the parents on the squad have already started working with their children to a very large extent. So let's talk about TikTok. TikTok has one business: keep the user scrolling, feed them off things that keep them going on and on and on. And the question is, how do they keep users scrolling? First and foremost, when they came out, the dynamics of their concept was that it was shorter. And the shorter the attention span of a human being, any entertainment that is shorter than that pulls them in, keeps them in for longer. So why does TikTok need people to keep scrolling? Because the more they scroll, the more they can advertise to your child. So what is the business of TikTok? Your children need to learn that TikTok profits from you being online. And when I'm having a conversation with my daughters, I would say, when you're online, TikTok is making profit. What is your own profit? So if you come online and you're following someone that teaches Excel and you spend 4 hours on Excel, TikTok made profit, you made profit too. This conversation is particularly about our girls from 9 to up. What is your profit? While you're online, TikTok is making tons of money, whether you bought or not, because TikTok sells adverts by views. So as the advert scrolls past and you watch it, TikTok tells somebody that I showed it to 13,000 people. I showed it to 1 million people. Pay me for the 1 million people. It's not TikTok business whether the child bought or not. They need your child's eyeballs. So you need to start introducing concepts like, baby, I want you to look at everything from a business standpoint. As you're online and watching TikTok, TikTok makes mad profit. Tell me what your own profit is. Because if you didn't do your homework, you didn't read for your assignment, you didn't rest so that you could sleep early tomorrow, you became a tool that TikTok is using. Even though you think that being on TikTok makes you cool, TikTok is using you right now. So when you talk like that, some parents say, my child will not listen. I promise you, they will think about it. They'll start asking questions. It's true. So what about Instagram? Instagram exists for ads and shopping. So Instagram is designed to have less talk. Compare beauty, business, status. People on Instagram affect content that shape their identity. For example, many years ago, if you didn't have Gucci mix blender, or what do they call them? All those gadgets, you thought something was wrong with you. So if you notice, you can't easily copy content. Don't worry, the light is going to come on. You can't easily copy content and paste from Instagram elsewhere. It's a locked-in, closed-in place that is designed to be aesthetically pleasing. The interface of content is cooler, finer, sleeker. The idea is when you look at somebody else's life and it looks all glam, you start to think something is wrong with you. And so it drives you to buy. Buy this is going to do this. Buy that is going to do you. Buy that and everything. And so once they find people that they call influencers, and I find that a lot of influencers, it's on Instagram that they thrive the most. The influencers push you to, you take their reality as what the ideal is, then you start measuring up to it. So one of the things I tell my daughters is, if you suddenly start to think that you need something, pause and ask yourself, when did I start needing it? Did I have a problem and I didn't have that thing to fix it? Or I saw someone who had it and I started to think my life was not complete because of that. So my child may know Instagram, but I know when it's getting into their head. I know when they're getting messed up. For example, if my daughter starts to say, I need these particular crunches, I'm going to ask, who is wearing it? How often did you see it? All right. Now, Snapchat is different. Snapchat is a space that is designed to drive secrecy. It tells children as you're posting something, your post will disappear. There's no risk of being caught. So it's like the worst things online that any human being will post. They can bring it to Snapchat, post it with the assurance that the messages will disappear. So what does it do? It triggers, because it takes away the consequences of posting something wrong. It takes away that consequence. So it heightens the young person's need to do something impulsive. Many years ago, a group was advocating that, because I lead a teens church, there was a youth group that was advocating that youth groups should not open Snapchat accounts. no matter what our good intentions were, because of the high risk. It also came around the time that the people in Snapchat were called and asked to tell people where their disappearing messages were going to. That with the messages really being deleted. And they said, no, it's just not showing on the child's profile. So in criminal investigations, the DSS, the FBI, all the security agencies have a right to enter their back end, and there are no disappearing messages in the back end. But the kids don't know that. That's why your child may know the app, but you know the motive. Everybody's looking for unique selling proposition. Their own unique selling proposition is there's no consequence. If you post it, it's going to delete anyway. I remember a child that shared her nudes with a boy, and the boy posted the nudes as a GIF or so, where she just opened her breast and closed it and posted it on Snapchat, put it out there. And her thinking was he's going to delete, but some people caught it before he deleted it. And even though her face didn't show clearly, all her classmates that saw it knew she was the one, because they knew her, they know the top, they know her build. So what about YouTube? YouTube wants people to stay there for a long time because they sell adverts. And so, for example, if you watch a 1 hour content on YouTube, there'll be bits and pieces of adverts all over the place. And so they want to encourage people to be there for a long time. So what do they do on YouTube? They look for things that reach your heart, whether it's emotional or extreme content, maybe extreme risk, extreme shock, something absolutely controversial. Unfortunately, YouTube does not direct the same traffic from everyday teenagers like other platforms, because other platforms sell something young people like, short content. YouTube has started doing short to pull that generation back in so that they can also make some money off their eyeballs. But YouTube particularly is focused on kids young people who will be there for a long time. I actually price YouTube above all social media platforms, not because it doesn't have its problems, but because if you get your child to love YouTube, not the short, it means you've gotten a child that can keep their attention on something for a long time. So there's a guy that I found on Instagram and introduced my daughters to. His name is John Yu. I need to post his name. His name is John Yu. We used to have one of my daughters that she has a crush on him. So John Yu is this young man, an immigrant that got into the US, has a bachelor's, and he did a combined degree, bachelor's and master's degree in biotech engineering. That's the course, my biomedical engineering, that's my daughter's course of choice. So what does he do? He teaches young people how to study. So on Instagram, his content is a bit short, but on YouTube is a bit longer because he teaches them how to study the tricks, the recall, the Pomodoro techniques. And from there, my daughter found another girl who does that. And she'll sit down there with those girls for a long time and be watching those things for study. However, one of the girls that used to do study stuff one day did skincare routine, and it introduced a new problem for me. So why am I saying this? Are you seeing the way I'm balancing it out? Sometimes it's who they're following and what they're doing. I don't like those short attention span places because they mess up whatever algorithm is in the child's brain, making them not be able to hold their attention on something meaningful. That's why I use YouTube to coach my children's attention span, to say, go and watch this thing, go and do this. Sometimes I would say, go and watch Kenneth Hagin, go and watch a message. Their father would say, go and watch this message. So even though my children don't have devices, I recognize that some platforms have what they're training them for, but all of it still needs to be guided. What about Roblox? Roblox wants them to play games and then monetize as they play. Now, Roblox has a model that ensures that they're going to have fun. There's going to be community. Because once they have a sense of community, this person is playing, that person, it keeps them longer on the platform. And the longer they stay on the platform, the more they spend money on the in-app purchases. So in the process, consumerism is introduced because they need to buy this, to have this, to play this. So kids are on the buy. So a parent who is talking about a child reducing how much they spend on Roblox needs to answer the question of, where is my child getting the money from to pay for in-app purchases? Now, let me tell you where it gets tricky with all of these platforms. In as much as they have how they make money, they always fail in dealing with the privacy problems that come with these platforms. They're so interested in signups that they don't vet who comes in and other purposes that their platform becomes used for. They don't do that vetting. They don't do the vetting that predators are coming in to a platform and reaching out to children. I mean, like a year or so ago, one of the little girls I know was having an inappropriate chat with a grown man on Roblox. The child lives in Abuja. So some people say, oh, it's mostly the kids abroad. No, it's kids everywhere. And she was chatting inappropriately with that man. And how old was she? She was 10. And how did we find out? Her school, because she wasn't using a laptop at home because she could be caught. She was using it in school. And so the thread of that chat came up when the ICT teacher that was a diligent one for him to find that. So this person that needs you to sit down here and scroll so that you can make money is not doing anything to protect you. It's not doing anything to protect your mind. So should we come to Facebook? Facebook is for data collection. Facebook is for data collections, for adverts. What you say, that's why what they ask you on Facebook is what's on your mind. Facebook determines what your content looks like. So let me tell you the very hard part. Recently, like not very recent, early last year, somebody I respect online put up a post that Nigerians should start using VPNs on their platform. Sometimes I find that a little unethical, but I don't know. Well, what does a VPN mean? It hides your location. She said that she noticed that when she hid her location and used a different location, the content that was fed to her was different. So Facebook does a random assumption collectively that, oh, people in Nigeria like this type of content. So you would have maybe vulgar content, vulgar skits, vulgar jokes. So whether you're following those people or not, they put it for you. So what I started doing, I was seeing groups I've never joined. I was seeing comments on those groups. I have to sit down and keep saying not interested, clicking those 3 dots, not interested, not interested, not interested, not interested. And this person said, just use VPN. That the moment you use VPN, you start seeing opportunities, inventions, leadership, responsibility. But once you're not in VPN, they'll be showing you something else. It was a heartbreaking thing. Now, what has that got to do with your child? Facebook assumes what your child will be interested in. Following a collection of maybe group of irresponsible children that are online of your child's similar age. So based on that, if nonsensical children are online watching nonsense, Facebook feeds it to your child because they assume that your child will like the same thing. So tell me what you've learned so far. Because I've been on for a bit. Tell me what you've learned so far. So what I wanted to do with this slide, which I hope it worked, is that we don't generalize social media. With each one, you can tell your child what's going on to say, baby, I know you know how this app works, but me, I'm an adult. And it's adults that are funding that platform. It's adults that are doing business with that platform. Mark Zuckerberg is 40-something. He's not a Gen Z. I understand how he thinks. Let me work with you to tell you some of what is in his head and how he's making money off you. Let me hear what knowing the business of each platform is very insightful. I didn't put LinkedIn there, but LinkedIn is one of the golden platforms that kids should be on. Is where children start to put themselves, if you get your 14-year-old to get on LinkedIn, it's going to look really boring to them. But you're going to tell them that you demand from them to put one content every week on LinkedIn about something they're learning in school. And change the game. There's a little girl I met recently on LinkedIn. She's 15 or 16 and she passed ICANN. Honestly. Thank you, Mama. We're in trouble if we don't become intentional about what we allow and what we don't allow on social media in our homes. I'm telling you. I saw this girl, she had passed ICANN at 16. And somebody took a screenshot and said, this is the person your child is competing with, and your child is wasting away on TikTok. And somebody said, are people not making it on TikTok? Yes, they are. Influencers and people selling a product. Which one is your child? In the sea of influencers, how many of them are significant? And very soon there are going to be regulations that people can't just become influencers like that. China has started. China is now asking that people should be trained, especially when you're offering people maybe medical and financial advice. They want to know what certifications you have that gives you the authority to set up a ring light and share. So eventually, education is going to determine who becomes the influencer, even on TikTok. So it's very important. But you know, when I looked at this screen, I thought about us as parents as well. Why are we more relaxed on Facebook than we are when we're on Instagram? With Facebook, you have nothing to prove. But on Instagram, your entire soul tells you, oh, you can't post, or you can't do like this, you can't do like that. All right, so I'm going to move to the next slide because I want us to be done by 5 on the dot. It's supposed to be 3:30 to 5, yeah? So we think they're just playing or posting, but every platform is a business model. If your child is not paying for it, they are the product. So I pay for YouTube. I do monthly subscriptions for YouTube. And my daughters asked me why. I said, because I don't want advert. Yes. It's controlled exposure. I want to explain that a little bit, even though I think it falls later. I think it comes on the slide. I'll get there. Some of us think that when you say the child cannot use the platform at all, what you don't know is that you heighten their excitement for it. So when they are with their friend, they want to do everything because when they come home, they can't. My child cannot touch phone, no? You can. Come and use my own account and look at it. Mommy, why are you not on TikTok? I don't know. I don't enjoy what I see there. But I like John. You come and go through his channel with me. Come and use my phone and go through his channel. Go through this. One time I came back and saw one of my daughters had shopped Timo on those their free bonus stuff and filled her. But I said, yeah, mommy, come and pay for it. I said, come, let's talk. How did you know you had those problems? Say, mommy, so cool. One of us said I should buy a sewing machine that has 602 pieces for 26,000. I said, all right, pick a calculator, divide 602 by 26,000, and let's determine what the cost of each part is. If the parts cost 20 naira or 200 naira, how durable is it? And that made sense. So yes, I am for controlled exposure. I don't believe you should give a child a device that it's their own, that they can use independently. Somebody bought my child and somebody gifted my child a Fire Tab 2 years ago. 2 attempts at releasing it to her. I have evidence that it's a massive distraction. It can distract their destiny. So I retrieved it. It's somewhere in the house. None of us even remembers it again. But the child continues to have a joyful life that it doesn't seem like they're missing anything. So let me go to the next. It can't be only 2 people, 3 people that have learned something so far. Please tell me what you've heard so far. Tell me what you've heard. And let me know if this is meaningful for you. Is this worth your time? Was this worth your time? If I'm not paying for it, I am the product. Same with my children. Yeah. Controlled exposure is key. Yeah. So the whole thing is that you're preparing the child for when they'll be able to use it on their own. If you say blank, don't see it, don't view it, you don't know anything about it, then at 18, you hand over the device. They've been waiting for it, they pour into it, and they do and undo. So you're using this period to teach. So sometimes, maybe somebody left me a comment on my wall that I don't very well agree with. I can ask my daughter to tell me, what do you think I should respond to that person? I should go. I think she should say this, she should say that, she should say that. By the time she says that, I say, well, if I said this may happen. If I said that, if I said that, if I said that. I remember the day I started telling my kids about tricky people. You know, tricky people are different from stranger danger. Tricky people are familiar people. They come and chat with you about someone, you sent a voice note, or you answered them by a screen chat, or you made a call to them. I said, let me tell you, they can record the call, they can reuse it. They can forward your voice note, they can reuse it. They can screenshot your chat. I said, so when you don't know a person well enough and their values, don't leave any evidence of conversation. When they put it out in the public, with the amount of people whose best friends have shared their secret stuff online, I use it to teach my daughters. We should know what our children's coping mechanism is, know what drives their requests, let them know the business of each social media, the apps, what the apps are gaining, and what they're gaining from their engagement. Yes, Mom, I like the way you laid it out. I like the way you laid it out. So why unrestricted access is no. So I've already started saying, if at home we lock doors, but online, many kids roam without guardrails. Freedom without formation always leads to risk. So, for instance, digital kidnapping. This year is, I think, the first year that I ever put any of my children's pictures online. And I promise you, it won't be there for another month. As a parent coach, people used to say, oh, you know, when people see your kids, it makes them buy from you. And I'm like, mba, if what I'm saying is not convincing enough, don't worry. But my children's images don't need to be online, all right? My kids' pictures are not online. In a world where pornography is created as easily as you can imagine, it's not hard for someone to take any, people are of ill interest. Look at it and say, oh, you're a girl's coach. Take your daughter's picture, excuse me, and produce something and put it online. And you spend the rest of your life trying to convince the people that it's not you. And this has happened for someone for real. I can't remember her app anymore. I need to research. Either a Chinese or Korean woman who someone used her face and produced porn. She had to obtain approval from which government to produce an app that detects deepfakes. So for those of us that come online and think that the whole world loves us, is an illusion. For some of you parents, you're achieving what upsets your colleagues at work. You're achieving what your relative, former childhood people, neighbors don't appreciate. So what it means is that if someone wants to bring you shame, who is the target? Your child. So you want your kids so aware that people with various interests. Recently, I told my daughters, I said, look, your dad and I lead an organization. There are many people that work for us that will not like us. We are strict, we are disciplinarians, we may be thoughtful and kind, but people choose what they want to focus on you. When you walk into school, because our kids go to our school, when you walk into school, stop having the assumption because your parents run a charity school, they're helping these 100 and something children go to school, therefore people will like you. Even your classmates, your confidence will irritate them. Your confidence will tick them off. I mean, I've met a child that can't stand my kids and she's in school because of me. And so you hear things like they're proud, they're arrogant. And I don't need to be their mother to say, I don't think so. They may be naive and may say some things sometimes and say, you're too trusting. So when people have those kind of things, somebody can come to you with the intention to find something wrong with you to scandalize you. So don't come online and think that everyone likes you. Everyone doesn't like you. I said, even as we run a charity school, you would be shocked how many parents think the worst of us. Why should it be us? Why are we blessed? Why are we blessed to the point that we have to bless other people? So we have to raise our kids to come out of their naive mold, to come up to the real world. You know, when we started out with them, we do baby voice, baby talk, baby context, baby this. We don't realize that when they hit 11, they need even 9. Once puberty starts to set in, the reality of life needs to start being unveiled gradually so that they don't live in a bubble. So remember, when your children come online and they hear something repeatedly, they go away with it because constant exposure reshapes values. So I have a system where I tell my children, if you hear something, come, let's talk about it. Now, my kids are not online like that. However, if they went on YouTube and while they were there, they heard something, my first daughter would say, well, that didn't sit well with me. We need to talk to mommy about it. I said, exactly, let's talk about it. Because your child can be in your house and somebody's reshaping their values. And many times, children will imitate influencers before they verify truth. So I told my children, if somebody's trying to push an ideology on you, this is how you filter it. Number one, who will benefit if I believe this? So let me give you an example. I might be wrong, but I have a principle. I don't market anything in a way that feels like if you don't have it, you're going to die. I know that it prevents me from achieving certain skills, but it just goes against the ethos of my life. So I use that to teach my children that if you didn't have the problem and need a solution, and by hearing someone, you suddenly feel like you have that problem. Ask yourself, if I believe what this person is saying, who will benefit first? Who will benefit the most? Two things. Who will benefit first? Who will benefit the most? So what does that look like? So all of a sudden, your hair was not cutting. Your hair is not breaking. You're not turning bald. Then somebody brought a product and said, fuller hair for you. Fuller hair. That dye your hair that is like this will soon start. It has not started, but it will soon start chopping. They listed the symptoms. You don't have any. Then they tell you, even if you don't have any, there's a way to equip yourself to prevent it. So you step back and ask yourself, when I buy this hair cream, who benefits first? Who benefits the most? If you can sit down and look at yourself and say, I don't have this chopping hair, but my mother did. It is possible that I may have this problem. It means you've applied thinking to the decision. So Irene has called you out of your comfort zone this Saturday and is talking a lot on online safety. Who benefits first? Who benefits the most? You have to teach that to your kids. So before you live with thinking, I'm not beautiful, because somebody said a particular foundation makes a difference. If you buy that foundation, who benefits first? Who benefits the most? Let me flip it another way. If you benefit first because you started using the foundation, is it to meet a standard that another person gave you? So you're counting the benefit based on the standard that another person gave you, or is based on what you've had the conviction to be true? Number two, this thing that they're telling me to apply or use, what problem does it solve? If it's more about community, everybody's using it. Oh, people of your age are using it. That's the worst way to sell to me. I have been in places somebody came to market something, said, mothers of girls like you are buying it. Oh, the moment they say that, my daughter will say, the person does not know that you will never buy it again. Once you sell it to me because other people are doing it, I don't buy it. And I don't buy it because of my daughters. Because I know that for teenagers, community is the biggest undoing they have. Whether it's a catch trend, watch a certain video, make a certain hair, wear a certain kind of clothes, the concept of trend thrives on the need to be a part of the community. So my responsibility to show my daughters that, moi, I'm not going to do it. Number 3, do I need it or was I persuaded by repetition? So for us that sell product and courses and all of that, they teach us that anything we advertise and someone sees 21 times, they will start to feel like it is truth or it is a need. So step back. Some people, some products, they hit you at number 7. By the 7th time you see it, you bought it. Sometimes you buy it because you saw it too often or because you need it. So me, I buy a lot online. But if you ask me, why did you buy this? I'll tell you what I'm buying it for. I buy a lot of unpopular things, be it books, be it courses, be it resources, but I buy them to fit into something. I also try to hold myself accountable that the last one I bought, I didn't go through it, I didn't use it. Why should I buy again? Wait until you've processed this one. When I teach my daughters this, I'm teaching them about the algorithm. The algorithm is training your children to crave, is training your children to compare, is training your children to copy. If she doesn't guard her mind, she'll spend her time solving problems she never had. So let me tell you about that girl that took her own life by suicide at 10. She exalted people that were not that important. For instance, let's say there's a girl in her class called Holly, and everybody runs around Holly. If Holly says something, so there's a thinking that if everyone says Holly is cool, then she's cool. So I will tell my daughter, let's break down what it means to be cool. I'll help my daughter see controlling kids, bullying kids have mental health issues so that you don't exalt a child whose head is not correct. Because children whose head are not correct, they know how to get into your child's head. So I tell my children, all right, let's drop the qualities that mean that someone is important. Usually I don't start with the person. I'll just say it at random. How do we know someone is an honest person? They'll start to talk. When they finish talking, I say, which of your friends matches that criteria? Is to step back and give your child a thinking lens, not necessarily volunteering all the information. So tell me, who are the people that their opinion matters in school? What should be the characteristics of a person whose opinion is important to you? And so they will write and write. Okay, who are the people that you need to rate this person as this? And so they could say, student. I said, well, students, everybody's playful. I don't think students think a lot about things like that. So yeah, that's true. Then that would be teachers, the head of school. So when they start making a particular child important, you ask them, do teachers think highly of them? Your head of school thinks highly of them? Oh, no, mom. They say she's a rascal. It's okay, let's look up the dictionary. What does rascal mean? When we finish looking at that, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to, that exalted place, they've kept that particular child. I'm trying to bring it down to level where they can look at the child and say, this one is not okay. Compared to, if she says I shouldn't be here, then I shouldn't be here. Remember when I said I would do it, teach it indirectly? I'll do it indirectly, but it will address the issue. Some parents say, I'm going to use filter, I'm going to track the child. Irene is talking about teaching. You can track, you can filter, you can't track everybody's device in your house. There are children who watch porn on their parents' devices. So when you say that the child shouldn't have a device, can they not use your own phone to do porn? You can track, but it doesn't mean that your child is aware. It also doesn't mean that even you are aware. So you can say in 1 hour, you're not going there. I have a friend, she even recommended one app for me recently called, I think it's Family Safety, not Family Name, Family Safety, something like that. And her principle was that app, she'll sit down in church and she'll see when her child has been there for 1 hour, and she can literally see the websites they visited, which is really great. But what if your child has access to a device that you're not tracking? So when you restrict without explanation, it leads to rebellion. However, you should be able to combine control, which means, no, you're not having the access, without any restriction, but we're going to have conversations and I'm going to coach you. So the goal is not to lock children out, but to walk them through it. Filtering helps the eyes, mentoring shapes the mind. I'm going to end this session here so that I can answer questions that we have. I'm going to end the session here. I'm sure this has been valuable for you. Let me read. We should know that children's coping, okay, I read that. I understand how the social media works better. Again, stopping them from seeing any content or so, say, no, I should rather guide them, yes. As a parent, I can't afford to be naive. As a Muslim, I also believe in evil eye. My kid picture is nowhere online. Yes. Man, I used to be one of those parents that say, don't worry. Even though my kids' pictures were not online, it wasn't for, I wasn't thinking about maybe people doing something spiritually wrong. But in recent times, even though I'm not embracing the concept fully, I recognize that the worst thing that can happen to you is to be naive that there is evil. Once you can hold the idea that there is no evil, you're finished. You're toast. So you need to have the belief that there is evil in this world. And you follow it prayerfully, not in an obnoxious way, of course, but you follow it prayerfully and you be skillful. The Bible says that we should be wise. Do you understand? We can't be simple-minded. So while I'm waiting for questions to come, I just want to do a bit of an announcement to us. I think I've reached where I think we can do squad in 2026, but you will know everything by like November 15th, how we are going to go about it. We're still trying to fix up a few things, but would be able to go ahead. But I still have a few things we need to fix. I'll share with us. I actually have my children's pics online. Oh, God help me. So when you're done, let God guide you on how to go about it. All right. But you can say going forward, no, like don't give people periodic updates for the kids. Then also I want to talk about this. I might be wrong. I think there's a problem when children have cameras on them all the time. Some people literally live online, their kids' itinerary. I don't have evidence yet. I may be wrong as well. I think that when children are camera conscious, they have a sense of imaginary audienceship, that there's an audience watching them. It gets kids into performance. You can't be a family content creator without showing your pics. You have to show your pics. You have to, if you choose to be a content creator, all right? Then what that means is you decide what part of your life's content is out there, all right? I saw that in a particular country or so, they started regulating family content creators because they assume that they're using the kids to make money because the kids become brand ambassadors and all of these things. And so they're trying to regulate all of that. So read it up and see how you can navigate ethically without exposing your kids to risk. So I would say I have concerns with cameras being on kids. Whoa. A major influencer explained why she doesn't post her pictures on her pictures of her children. She demonstrated how thousands of people save her post daily. Can you imagine her posting pics of her kids? Also, with my husband in the AI world, he explains these consequences. It's scary. Yes, it is. You're so correct. Once the camera is on, my daughter, she starts acting perfect, including pretending. Yes. So because of that, I always want my kids to not know that we are not performing, right? So let me give you an example. With the kinds of things I share with you, you can imagine the kind of conversations that happen in my home. Is it prophetic experiences? One time, my now 12-year-old, she was 11, we're doing Bible study, and she took on a Bible verse, and she spoke to us for 29 minutes. I have it uploaded somewhere on YouTube, but it's private. And I uploaded it because I felt that one day I will need to make reference to it, but the public is not ready for it. Sometimes I sit down with them and something says, click record. People won't believe that children of this age can think and talk like this. Do you understand? But I still understand that I want them to not get to the point that what's the template of how to talk? I don't want that. But then we can process it differently. So mamas, there's a lot going on as we start thinking about 2026. I want to answer questions. I love answering questions. It helps me know where you are at. You know, I may say something that is not very applicable to you. I want to know how that works for you. So while I'm waiting for your questions, we're going to be doing some video. I want to do a Zoom meeting with parents like this, but we are not going to be teaching. I want to hear how Squad has impacted you. That day you're going to come prepared because you're going to turn on your camera, you're going to dress pretty. I want to hear what you've noticed in your daughters. So sometimes parents don't fill our feedback form. So I don't get a lot of feedback as much as I should. But what I notice is the number of people that sign up without advertising. The number of people that say, my friend signed me up, my sister is on the squad, and so I feel that there are things happening with the girls that we are not hearing. Even if, for instance, if somebody asks me that, I mean, what is your measure of success for squad? Is to get girls thinking a particular way. If you say my daughter's mindset has shifted like this, or she now talks like this, she now thinks like this, she asks this particular question, my goal is achieved. That's what I'm looking for. So I'm looking for parents that feel like, I noticed this thing in my daughter and I want to talk about it. We would be hosting a Tell Us Your Squad Story session, Zoom meeting, just like this, a Saturday, and would listen to you. But we will record those sessions and we'll be able to use them online as we start thinking about 2026. Unfortunately, I thought we'll start registration for 2026 on October 1st. But God has his own timeline. So God has his own timeline. And so let's see how that goes. All right. Question. Okay, I'm going to ask people to tell me what they learned, and I'm going to give people permission to unmute. All right. This is for my son, though. He says he wants to be famous. How should I handle this or the conversation? I think the first thing you want to know is define what famous means to him. Tell him to describe why fame. Also let him tell you who is one famous person that he aspires to be like, so that that information tells you where his headspace is. So start with that. What does fame mean for you? What is your headspace? Who is the person that is famous that you really admire? What do you think you'll be able to do with fame that you can't do now? So I'll tell you a real story. My second daughter sings. Unfortunately, we didn't really realize that she had a singing gift until someone pointed us to it. So she sings, and then she would say she wants to sing to a lot of people, sing in front of a stadium, sing. She wants to be famous. So most kids who want to be famous are social butterflies, and they were designed in that way. But our work as parents is to say, at what point does this become seeking validation? At what point does this become fame at all cost? So one day I called her and said, baby girl, God gave you a voice to sing. You recognize that? Yes. I said, what if he doesn't want you famous? He just wants you to sing in the places he tells you. She was really sad for a long time. I say, I'm not saying that God does not want you to be famous, but he doesn't want you to choose fame over service to him. It's not a one-day conversation, it's an ongoing one. And one thing you can do is also go to God to say, what do you want me to do with this piece of information about this child? So that their need to be social, their need to connect with a lot of people does not become something they're dependent on. So for me, that's where the big deal is. What does fame mean to you? Liked by a lot of people, seen by a lot of people. A lot of people means more bad people have access to you. Is that what you want? Yeah. So what do you want to do with the fame? So my daughter will say something like, I want to sing so that people will get to know Jesus. I said, I promise you that there are people talking to one person and through them people got to know Jesus. Don't play me that card, especially if they're growing up in a Christian family where there's a lot about godliness and pleasing God. Don't play me that card. I always want to use that to know whether they have a need to be liked by a lot of people. which is something that comes in the terrain of social butterflies. Question, my daughter is always mean, always interested in what others are doing. Let's say she's in class and doing a particular task, and the teacher is correcting another person. She leaves what she's doing to explain to the student what the teacher means. Oh, she will leave her home tasks to start listening to you teaching her younger siblings, leaving what she should be doing. Mama, you have a leader on your hands. So she's a leader. You just need to teach her how to balance it out. How to tell her, talk briefly and come back to it. She's a leader by every standard. She's a leader, she's a communicator. She's a leader, even though she may have a distraction problem, but she's still a leader. Some children can be distracted to go and do mundane things, but she's still distracted into productivity. So she's a natural leader, but she has a distraction problem. So you need to start telling her that, like, if she was my daughter, I'll tell her, if you need to talk to someone about it while you're doing your homework, write down what you want to talk about. When you're done with your homework, you can talk about the person. That will be the first layer for. The second layer for me will be, if the teacher has already spoken to the person, it may not be a good time to talk to the person that time. Maybe later, you may want to find out if they understood what the teacher was saying, but not in the heat of the moment. So I'll start teaching her about timing. So finish your task, write down what you want to talk about, complete your task first, then read the room, see whether this is a good time. But she's a natural leader. All right? You know, some things that are good start out troubling. My daughter is just like the scenario you painted. I usually tell her to try and mind her own business though. She's on the squad. So what do you do if you have a social butterfly and has the need to be liked by others? So for my social butterfly, I had to teach her how to notice whether people are liking her back. So the need to be liked by others can be repurposed to say, like I told my daughter, that she's worth loving. So what we look out for is to look out for people who are not reciprocating her kindness. You can't be the only one caring in a relationship. Look out for the ones that care. But Mama, it's one of the things I also learned is that we don't do well with our social butterflies. Many of us raising social butterflies are introverts. So we enforce our staying at home, not going out on them. So for instance, my second daughter has a best friend. Her name is Eniola. They went to the same crèche, they grew up together. But we lived the neighborhood we lived with Eniola. And she never forgets Eniola. She said, Mommy, bring Eniola for a sleepover. Let's go out on a play date. So because of my itinerary, I'm not feeding off things that make her see that she's building meaningful relationships. So give them room to build a meaningful relationship. So for instance, does she have one good friend? You and the parents should become friends. Create room for them to meet often. Fill their energy, fill their tank to connect and bond with people wholesomely. Then use that relationship to teach them how friendships should be reciprocated. Do you get the point? How friendship should be reciprocated. If someone is not doing this, unfortunately, we just lock them up at home. Irene inclusive. Irene Banwell inclusive. So we stifle our social butterflies. That's why when they get one chance to go out there, if you're not careful, they want to. When I did camp in Abuja, if not for God, I won't see Elena. I won't see that child. She'll be going from friend. So sometimes oh God, because we lock them up a lot. So let's give them energy first, so that they don't look like every opportunity I get, let me maximize it. So I have a social butterfly and we will get there. So the first thing, oh, she seeks external validation for everything. She feels she's not enough. It makes me sad. Okay, so I've seen another one. Let me go. My daughter is in the habit of telling me about what this person did in class. The person has this, I wish I had it too. She tends to always go in the negative direction, but the good thing is that she knows what to do. However, she chooses to say the wrong things. Oh, so let's talk. Have you given her room to air her mind? Have you given her room? So remember, you're already doing a lot. But sometimes when she comes, ask her to tell you what she thinks you want to say. She'll say the things you say that she doesn't like. So for instance, if she comes to say, these people, their parents spend this for them, you don't do this, your parents do that for them. Say, what do I normally tell you? She'll tell you that thing. Say, what part of that thing I tell you do you not agree with? She will tell you. When she tells you, you address it. Let me explain what it looks like. Maybe she said, these other kids, they bought them a rolling school bag. What do I usually tell you? You say we don't use things because other people use them. What problem do you have with it? I don't think it's a big deal. I don't think it's a big deal if we use what other people use. I don't think it's a big deal. Mommy, you're just making it bigger than it should be. I don't think nothing is wrong with just looking like my friends. You can now call and say, let me tell you why it's a big deal. Let's see. Okay, if she has to say, okay, I'm going to give in to one, but I'm not going to give in to this one. The reason I'm not going to give in to this is because I still want you to be your own person. You cannot tell me that this rolling bag is the only style you like. I'm going to buy you a new bag. Choose any style you want that reflects you, that represents you, but this one. I always want you to choose what represents you, not just what other people follow. Many years ago, I told my children that they will not follow trends, they should create trends. I don't know whether that was a good idea because what my second daughter has created as trends, I had to put a post one day on social media that if you run into my second daughter and she looks like Deborah Enenche, just know that I have cautioned her, but she's not listening because I told them to create their own trends instead of following others. So find out what it is that you're saying she disagrees with so that you people can dig deep into it. You understand? So that you can dig deep into it. Oh, Mama, don't be irritated. It's going to come in useful. It's going to come in very useful. Many years from now, people are going to reach out to you and say, your daughter changed my life. That's the making of a leader. They cannot mind their business. They are not designed to mind their business. But as long as it's not gossip, as long as it's not prying, as long as it's not carrying two people's head, as long as the teacher is correcting someone and she's explaining what the teacher means, it's not a bad thing. But we can still teach boundaries with it. My 8-year-old daughter always allows her little sister who is 4 push her over. She's also very emotional when her friends act somehow towards her. I know she's a leader, even her teacher says that. I've noticed that she would rather be uncomfortable to make others comfortable. While it is a good trait, I keep telling her to always put herself first. Any recommendation? Is she your first daughter? Is she your first daughter, Mama? Okay, so it's a first daughter problem. Because when her younger one came, you taught her to look out for her sister. You taught her to prioritize her sister. Now start prioritizing her without saying anything. So for example, when you want to get something for them, say, so person is the one choosing for us today. Make her choose, make her lead. All of us are recovering from this problem. You have a first daughter, you're so strict with her. The second one comes, you're so lenient. We miscommunicate what the standard is. So she's done it, she's practiced putting herself second at home. She's now in a public space where it is detrimental to her. So bring her back to put herself first, right? And this one is not pep talk. Practical. Who goes first? Who takes first? Whose opinion do I listen to first? Prioritize that. And then I think it will start her in the pathway for doing better. Put her first. Parenting is not a joke. Parenting is not a joke. Put her first. I promise you. Thank you, man. My first daughter is very emotional. The tears come out easily. It could be her temperament. That is one. Could be her temperament. It could also be, I don't know how old she is. Give me her age. She's 6 to 8. Give me her age, Mama. It could be her temperament. It could also be limited vocabulary. She's 10. So it could be limited vocabulary. It could also be the misinterpretation that she will not be understood. It could be her temperament. It could be limited vocabulary. It could be the impression that I will not be listened to, or they don't always listen to me. So as she's trying to articulate what the problem is, she doesn't believe that she will get a deserving response. So try this exercise to this. Ask her to write to you the things that you do that make her feel that you're not listening. Don't start there. Ask her, if somebody asks you whether mommy always listens to you, especially when there's a problem, give me a score on a scale of 1 to 5. How much do I listen to you? 1 means not a lot. 5 means a lot. She may place it and say maybe around 3. You say, okay, tell me the times that you were talking and I didn't listen. Because for me, I had to teach my daughter that I'm going to listen to you. But when you're crying, I can't hear you. And I taught them, don't just tell me what happened. Tell me what you expected and what you want the person to do another time. So your sister did this. I was expecting her to do this. Next time she should do this. 1, 2, 3. She did this. I was expecting this. Next time she should do this. Sometimes I make them expand. I was expecting her to do this. When she didn't do it, this is what it cost me. This is why it hurts me. This is what I want her to do another time. That one is skill. When you go to school, instead of going to cry to the teacher and not articulating herself, you've taught her how to articulate herself. Once they start articulating themselves, they feel better heard. And it helps the emotions to be reserved for other days. So if you teach her that, and once in a while, tears still comes out, hug her first. That's something I learned from my friend Vivian. It says when children are in a height of emotions, physical touch brings calm so that they can think. But African parents, what are you crying for? What are you crying for? Can you not open your mouth and talk? The crying now enters another gear. So Vivian says, Dr. Vivian, whose book we're reviewing, by the way, the digital parenting book, yeah. It's a book that we're using to learn all of this. She says physical touch. Just hold her and hug her and say, we'll talk about this later. So for example, with my first daughter, we would say, let's talk when you feel ready. Let me see what the time is. Hey, church has started. I said I'll be here till 5. So I came into my church to do this session today so I could head to church. So I'm going to leave at 5:30. So you know what? As you try these things, bring it to the group. Share with us what's going on and if it's working, and it will help. My 13-year-old shuts down when spoken to. She will cry and not say what is going on. That is a trauma response. Try the same thing I told you with, I just told Mama, the last person whose question I answered. If she shuts down when spoken to, it's usually because my own side of it has not been heard or they've concluded already. She'll cry and still not say what's going on. So when this is happening, it's not the best time. So go and ask her today. If they ask you how much I listen to you on a scale of 1 to 5, how would you rate me? And she'll say something like 3, say no problem. If she says 1, she say, well, let me apologize first and foremost. Nobody should be in a place that they are not heard. I apologize. I'm going to listen to you. So now walk me through the different situations you were in that I did not hear you out. And when she tells you those situations, don't defend the situations so that it doesn't look like she deserved to not be listened to. Go away with the idea that truly I should have listened to you here, even if you don't agree with what she said. And you need to be able to tell her, even if I don't agree with you, even if I don't agree with you, the least I can do is I should listen. And truly, the more I listen to you, I will understand you better. Don't defend your actions in the past because you can't even know how you reacted. You can't defend it happened a while back. You don't have the complete memory of it in the way she does. So it's better to say, I'm going to take note of this so that subsequently I pay attention and I listen to you. Meanwhile, take note, first daughters that are first children deal with this a lot because we have these high expectations of conduct for them. without the patience to listen to them. So if they have a problem with a sibling, we always assume that they should do this, they should do that, you're the older one, they should do this. So it creates a burden that, I know I'm the older one, but I'm a child, so shouldn't I be listened to? And that helps. Oh, so it's a first daughter problem because we put such a high expectation on them, huge, really huge expectation that we nearly forget that they are just as children as their siblings that we expect them to look out for. All right. So I think I've come to the end of the session today. Remember that I said that we are going to have tell us how your squad experience has been. We're going to call it something nice, do some flyer, tell you the date, and you're going to dress pretty and come and let's shoot some of those videos. I really want to hear how the squad is making a difference for you. Towards at the end of last month, when I started thinking, should I do 2026 or not? This year has been really exhausting to me emotionally, but I just felt like hearing how the difference it will make for your kids somehow will give me a pull that it's worth doing. I know that it's worth doing, but just hearing your stories, like answering your questions today has given me a pep and has just helped me, process things, and it's amazing. Thank you so very much. Yeah, so I've already done the recording. I'm going to post it immediately. So when I host the recordings, I usually stream directly on YouTube. I don't record and upload. I always stream. So the links are already ready. Thank you. Thank you, Mama. Thank you. Thank you so much. Do I want big numbers? Yes, I do. But any number that God gives us in 2026, we're going to go on and give the families the best possible care. So remember, we're still going to do the November parents session. This was the October one. We'll still do the parent session so that we get into the rest of the slide. I didn't even complete it, and it's an interesting journey. Thank you so much for being here. God bless you. Thank you, mamas. Thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless you. You know how we do now? Before we go, we need to hear everybody's voice. Meanwhile, this session is available on YouTube, and you can invite your friends to watch the replay. And then when we start for 26 registration, they can be a part of it. Thank you so much, Mama. Thank you so much. Thank you. So everyone can unmute now so that we get to hear people's voices. Oh, thank you, Mama Esther. That's so sweet. You're always cheering me. Thank you so much. All right, please let's unmute so that we hear people's voices.
Thank you so much, Mama.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you,
Thank you
Princess
so much.
Irene.
Bye.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Princess Irene.
Bye.
Mommy, just like Princess Irene.
So let me post the replay. All right. So I didn't hear anybody's voice. So parents are boring. They didn't say I well. Bye.